New York has some of the best, Long Island certainly has some of the best golf ever developed in the world. I mean, A, there was all the money in the world was in New York, and it still is. And B, Long Island itself is a glacial moraine, so it's just this big, giant pot of sand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Jonathan, we just met a new friend who is in and around the game of golf. Mike Altobello, photographer, has written stuff in golf. Most of his photography is actually outside of the world of golf and fashion and other stuff that I don't pay as much attention to. Maybe I'll look at it now, just now that we know somebody, but man, he's got some great golf stories. A mutual friend, Dan Ballister, who's here in Columbia, with the General's Hot Sauce. If anybody wants any hot sauce, go check them out. But yeah, had met Mike, I think on a tee box or a driving range somewhere, and became friends. And said, "Hey, Robbie, y'all should talk to Mike." And I'm so glad we did. This was fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I mean, we get to interview all sorts of folks that are deeply ingrained into the golf world, but sometimes it's just a guy that's loves the game, wants to chat about it, and has the stories to match. So, I mean, yeah, we spent most of it just laughing about, just like if we had just finished up a round. Again, we talk about it on the 19th hole hanging out, and we're fortunate enough to do this on a regular basis and obviously get to share that with you all. So we hope you enjoyed as much as as we do. And if you don't, that's okay, because we're still having a blast with it.
Oh, you're having a blast indeed. So, and
Yeah.
again, like he made the comment at the end, like most of our guests do, and we try to preach the message as well. It really doesn't matter what you shoot, where you play; those are all great. But meeting people like Mike and then getting to hang out at some point with those people on and around a golf course is what it's all about. So, this is a great episode. You guys will like it. Thanks as always to our friends at Summit Golf Brands. Speaking of New York, they do incredible stuff. Beach Ratty, zero restriction, fairway and green. And they are kind enough to offer you, our listeners and audience, 20% off if you use BestBall 20 at any of their websites. So without any further ado, let's get to our conversation with some hilarious stories in and around golf from Mike Altobello. Y'all enjoy. All right, joining us today on The Whole Story, referenced or recommended by a mutual friend, Mr. Dan Ballister, is Mike Altobello. Mike, how are we doing today?
I'm hanging in there. How are you guys?
Doing well, man. So Dan sends me this email and he says, you need to talk to Mike. He is in and around golf and has some incredible stories. And a couple things he mentioned, I'll just throw this out there. He said, part-time golf writer and photographer, Nassau Players Club, and then being a short-term, one-day member of the St. Andrews grounds crew. So maybe we can touch on a little bit of that, but before we jump into it, like we want to hear your story, like when you got involved with golf. Did you play as a kid or did you pick it up later in life?
I've got pictures of me at maybe 2 or 3 years old with a bowl cut, cross-handed with a Mickey Mouse plastic clubs in the backyard, hitting a weird little white wiffle ball. So I grew up with it in Connecticut. My brother and I both started playing when we were really young.
Very nice. And that carried on. Did you play like golf in high school? Did you get on the team thing or were you playing everything else and golf was just fun?
Yeah, no, I played a bunch of stuff, but yeah, we certainly played through high school. My brother played collegiately. I did not, and continued to play. Once I got out of college, just picked it back up again and started playing. For the rest of my life, I hope.
Well, how do
Absolutely.
you switch from playing as a 2-year-old to writing articles for some pretty heavy hitters? Like, where does that leap into the rest of the golf world take place?
You know, part of it is I think part of it has to do with having a camera in my hand, and that really takes you to some places that you wouldn't normally get access to. And that has led to just meeting a bunch of people and, being in the right place at the right time. And then, sort of going from there. So, I mean, I'm not quite media, but I'm tangentially media. And so, um, sort of unlocks some doors that wouldn't normally get unlocked.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. You said camera in hand, not technically golf media. Tell us all what you do, I guess, for the day job if it's not playing professional golf.
Well, certainly not playing professional well because I'd be poor. Um, probably all of us would be poor.
All of us,
But
yes, for sure.
yeah, yeah. No, I am a fashion and advertising photographer. I shoot product still life. I shoot on figure fashion stuff. I've done it for maybe 25 years. Started out as an assistant in New York City and just kind of worked my way up. And fortunate enough to be able to do something that I love for work. So freelance basis my whole life. So I've had a whole bunch of clients, Puma, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Dooney and Burke, which is one of my main clients right now, a handbag company in Connecticut. Um, and I think there's been a couple of golf things that have just sort of been like word of mouth, like Mike's a photographer, he knows a ton about golf. Let's have him shoot something. And a lot of it's just been like sort of people that I knew that along the way and have sort of been like, let's have Mike do it. I'm currently working on a project right now, a year-long project at a club that I have an affiliation with, or that I had friendly relationships with, and my coach is there actually. And now I'm kind of like at their full-time on staff photographer because they're doing a major renovation. So it's been really fun sort of documenting that whole process. And that's more just like a right place at the right time kind of thing. I mean, obviously I have some talent, but you got to kind of, there's this saying in photography that I love that you guys might not be familiar, but are you familiar with f-stops and shutter speeds? Like those are like two of the
A
main
little bit, yeah.
components. They're like the two very basic things in a camera. F-stop is like how big the lens opening is, how much light comes in the lens. And then the shutter speed is like the speed that the shutter is open, can be open for a whole second, it never is in daylight. F8 is one of the numbers, and there's a saying in photography, and it's F8 and be there. Like that's the important thing. Just be there. You just got to be there. So F8 and be there.
I love
Does
that.
that make it, are you one of those golfers and photographers that just feels like you always have to have your camera on you whenever you're playing? Or are you able to set that down because your day job isn't necessarily directly related to how well you're shooting hole number 3?
Well, in 2026, we all have a camera on us at all times
Well,
in our
that's
in our
true.
pockets. So it is on me at all time. When I'm playing, I am usually the first one to pull it out. Like if I'm playing with you and you're standing on the edge of a cliff, like I'm gonna get that thing recording, just in case something happens. Or if we're talking about a hole in one, there's a good chance that I'm gonna pull it out quick, just on the odd chance that somebody actually knocks one in. So it's close at hand. The phone's always close at hand, and I'll start shooting something if I need to. But real camera, no, there's not a real camera in my golf bag anymore. There was for a period of time, but the phone really has taken the place of the point and shoot camera that used to fit in the golf bag. The phone's just amazing. I mean, so what you can do with it. So
Jonathan and I keep saying like we need to record every one of our shots on a par 3 just so that in case we get a hole in one,
yeah.
but we don't do it, and I think subconsciously it's because we know that that's probably a very, very long shot. So
It's
if
not
we do ever actually get the
subconscious.
hole in one, like we'll have to catch the celebration maybe.
If you ever go back and look at our shots on par 3s, there's a reason why we're like, maybe we don't need to do this anymore.
We
Well,
need to put together a reel of every one we thought we might have.
that would be
Yeah.
great. That
That'd be
would
a lot
be
of fun.
great.
It'd be
That'd
my
be a lot of fun.
commentary going, little right, Robbie, little right.
Yep.
That would be great. That'd be a good reel. Well, I've only had one, and I can't imagine having the film going for every
Yeah.
time I've missed it, because that's pretty much every time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then combined, we all have one, or we have one
Okay.
together.
Well,
That's right.
See, so I feel like they come when you talk about them. So like one of us is gonna have one this weekend or next, whenever
Mm,
you guys play next. Like one of
we
us is gonna get one soon.
we've
We'll
been
have to
I
talking
tried to,
for
confirm. Yeah.
you're gonna get
yeah,
your
I
second
tried to
one then
speak
because
into
we've been doing this for a
existence.
long time.
I tried to speak it to existence last week because I was playing in an event where all the drinks were covered, and I was like, if I'm going to get one, let's go ahead and do it here, and I'll buy all the free drinks that we're already going to get. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
side note, that is one of the silliest traditions in golf. Like if you
Dumbest
make a
thing
hole in
ever.
one, somebody should buy you a drink.
That's
But
right.
anyway,
Yeah, it's 100%. We actually have a nice bonus at one of my clubs, and it's a
Or
$1,500 allotment
right.
to buy drinks, and then you get to actually keep whatever's left over. So if it's a cold day in November, you're gonna walk away with $1,450, and if it's the
that's
member
pretty good.
guest, you're gonna be out money, which is but
Yeah,
not as much as you would be without the 1,500. So
that's a
yeah,
pretty good little policy there. Well,
it is.
let's
It
talk.
is. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the things that that Dan referenced. He mentioned you do some photography, and I know, you shared some articles about things at like Bethpage and the Nassau Players Club. So for those that are not familiar, tell us about that if you're allowed to talk about it, and then how
Sure.
how that relates to Bethpage and kind of what that place is like. Because obviously we all see it from whenever it's hosting a major or showing off a great golf tournament. But tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
Well, Bethpage is a place that attracts a whole bunch of players that can't afford to be members of other clubs around New York City, and New York City is incredibly expensive. So the private market is just astronomical. So there's a whole bunch of good players that end up at Bethpage, and Bethpage is very similar to the UK model, where um, the UK model clubs courses are owned by the Links Trust, and clubs play and have access to the courses. So Bethpage is similar. There's multiple clubs that play out of Bethpage, one of which is named the Nassau Players Club, and I was affiliated with those guys for a long time, and it was a great home for me, because a whole bunch of really good players would beat you up at any given Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or any day of the week. You could get a game and you could get crushed. So you're going to get a lot better playing against some better players. So Bethpage is kind of a unique place in this country, at least in that sense. Multiple
And
courses, multiple clubs.
yeah, I really think, and you mentioned the UK model. I really wish more and more places were like that offered up the ability for access. One, to really good clubs. So yeah, I read the article. I think in the Golfers Journal where you said at one point you were like a 1-7, and you weren't even the top 25 of your club. Like
Not
that's
even
that's
close.
some good
Yeah.
golfers.
Yeah, we had for years we were sort of not battling, but we were like one of the lowest handicap indexes in the country versus Whisper Rock. But it was partly because there was a cap on the number of players that we took, and we sort of obviously only took like a specific quality. I mean, I was never really part of who got in or who got out, but um, yeah, you kind of had to be. Essentially, it was designed to be like a place for tournament players, because there's a bunch of tournaments in Long Island and Met section, where we needed club affiliation in order to play, get a handicap. Certainly 25, 35 years ago, maybe when the club was founded. How the heck old is this club? Yeah, 30 years ago when the club was founded, you needed to have club affiliation to play. You need to have a handicap to play in some of these events. And so that was how the club was founded initially. So it was a bunch of tournament players that got together that founded this thing.
Talk a little bit more about New York golf though, because for those of us, I've been to New York for tourism stuff down, at Times Square and things like that. And if you're not local to the area, the first thing you think of is concrete and skyscrapers. And yet there's a whole bunch of part of the state that's not that. But even surrounding the city, there appears to be a lot of good golf available.
Yeah, I mean, New York has some of the best. Long Island certainly has some of the best golf ever developed in the world. I mean, A, there was all the money in the world was in New York, and it still is. And B, Long Island itself is a glacial moraine, so it's just this big giant pot of sand. And as I think all of us that are listening to this understand, that sandy soil is essential. So you got the money, and then you got you got the turf for it. So the sand is key. So they were able to move earth pretty easily and have great agronomy, and it attracted the best architects in the world. The money and the turf attracted the best architects in the world to build some of the, to this day, some of the best stuff out there. Um, Playing golf in New York in 2026 is a pain in the ass. I mean, it just sucks. It just absolutely sucks. I was 21 when I first got to New York City, and I was a golf nut, so I kept a car and like lived really far away from the city with really cheap rent in order to be able to like go do things like play out on Long Island and caddy out on Long Island. Thankfully, I had a freelance job, so I was able to do it. But like, if you really have to try really hard, it's probably one of the worst cities in the country to be a golfer in.
I get that. Did you have some favorite spots that you like to play? Let's say money wasn't an object, or wasn't a thing, and like, private, public, whatever. Like, where would you choose to play? Like, do you have some favorites?
When I first started caddying, I ended up at the end of that year working out at Shinnecock, and that was just a pretty special place to work. There were and are all these tiny little caddy paths. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful places in the country, I think, and that place is and was special to me. Now, that being said, it's brutally hard, and the place next door called National is just kind of a more day to day, like you'd almost want to play there day to day versus Shinnecock day to day. But both of those places are pretty awesome, and if I could go out there and play, I would go out there and play.
Yeah.
Um,
Just
Well,
telling you, you
there's
got
the
a
U.S.
camera.
Open, right? Did you not qualify?
there was a time where I tried to qualify for the U.S. Open. This is a long time ago, many times, but that not even on my radar anymore. Yeah.
Did you make it past the first round in the elimination?
No, no, no. I never made it past. Never qualified. I've played some decent rounds. My brother was an alternate once to sectionals, so that was kind of fun. We sat on the first tee, hoping to get out. I was going to get it for him, but we never even got out. Um,
Will you at
yeah,
least get
no,
out and
yeah.
watch some of it this year?
I won't get out and watch any of it this year. The pro game and going to an event like that doesn't interest me anymore, but I'll go watch the Carter Cup or, the New York State Junior Am if it's around the corner and there's no ropes and I can walk around and drink a beer and wear flip-flops or boat shoes and like just be on top of the golf. I don't have a ton of interest in like trudging around Shenny, maybe on a practice round day because I have a relationship to the place, but like it's not. There are other events that are much more interesting for me to go watch with just easier access.
You talk about
Yeah.
untapped access. That those junior tournaments, I've been to a couple, and it.
Incredible.
I mean, I was over at the junior national or something like that hosted over here at Sage Junior Invitational, and whenever
The
we went,
Sage Invitational, yeah,
yeah, like you're literally walking down the fairway
it's amazing.
with the players. You're just, you're 20, 30 yards back, but never been to a golf tournament that lets you do that.
It's amazing, yeah. I started going to Walker Cups in 2013 when I was at National, and those have now even become almost like there were no
Right.
ropes. There were no, now it's like gotten a lot more play even just in the last 10 years. And that I'm not saying that's too big for me, but like I don't know, maybe I'll check out a Curtis Cup instead, at this point. But
Yeah.
they're still pretty cool. I mean, just to be able to walk and have access and sit on top of, I mean, at Sage you're gonna get future champions.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that's, pretty
Yeah.
no-brainer to go
Astridge
to, especially if
Tally,
you're,
Miles, right? And then Tiger's kid was out there. Like,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
loaded field for a bunch of junior golfers. Well, tell us
Asterix,
about you. Yeah, you sent a little article talking about a trip you took with Oliver Horowitz back in 2018, and you said this might be a fun one for a podcast. Tell us about that.
yeah, this is a fun trip. I met Oliver, so 2018 is a long time ago. even though it's
Yes, it
not
is.
that long ago. It's funny because like there weren't really golf influencers. There really weren't. There was like some blogs. You're talking like the Tumblr world. So I met Oliver through another bloggist at the time who was writing about golf named Stephanie Wee. She had a blog called Way Under Par, We Under Par, Way Under Par. And Ollie came over to a photo shoot that Steph and I were doing one day, and I met Ollie, and we became friends there. And then he had written a couple books, and then he was sort of trying to like navigate his way around writing articles and being a golf influencer without even really that didn't exist. Like if he came 10 years later, he would have had a whole different trajectory. But he was really one of the early ones. So I don't remember how or why it got in his head, but he went over to play the Mongolian National Open and wanted me to come along to like document it. And I had two jobs, bookcasing this trip to Mongolia, and I thought it would be a really good idea to try to go to Mongolia for 3 days. So I flew there, and we're going to have 3 nights on the ground in Mongolia between jobs on the east coast of of uh, of the United States. Anyway, I get delayed on the way out, of course, and I missed the entire first round of golf, which sucked because I only really had like 2.5 rounds that I was going to be able to sort of witness. And so I meet him in the middle of the city, UB, Ulaanbaatar, and I'm exhausted. Obviously, I've been traveling, with a backpack. There's a drone in my backpack. This is 2018 drone too. There's like a camera drone, some underwear. Like I don't know, barely had anything. And I meet him, and I hadn't heard anything from him. So I get to him, and he's like, I shot 106. And I thought he was totally joking. And I did not believe him for a second. But he's like, no, I was like, what are you talking about? How did you possibly? So I'm like, I already hit the record button. So I'm recording him, and he's telling me this story. And I'm like, this is a guy that can play golf. I mean, he shot even par on the old course before, which is not all that hard necessarily. But still, I mean, this is the guy that can play golf. So he basically got there, and you couldn't play. And it turned out to be a really, really hard golf course in the sense that if you were off, you were so proceeded to watch him absolutely make a mess of the Mongolian National Open for the following day. And at one point I sort of ditched him, and I went and interviewed the head professional of the golf club, and we had lunch together. And about an hour later, I was like puking and my brains out. And about an hour and a half later, I end up in the Mongolian hospital.
Oh my
Somebody
gosh.
had taken me to the hospital, thank God, because I couldn't function. Oliver had finished his round, and we got somebody to take us there, and we ended up in the private side of the hospital, which you would think would be really nice. And thank God that we were in the private side, because I can't imagine what the public side was like. So we're in the hospital, we're checking in, and we had a translator who had taken us there. Thankfully, it was like some kid from the golf course. I don't even know who he was at this point. Um, and it turned out that we needed to show up with our own IV and our own saline solution.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I didn't know that, of course, and I'm like in no shape to understand any of this. So Ollie has to run to like the pharmacy and comes back with like needles and saline, and I had E. coli poisoning, and so I'm just
Oh,
in the hospital. So this was like I'm delayed. I missed a whole day. See one day of golf. Then the next morning, I'm in the hospital. Like it was just a comedy, just a total comedy of errors. So then I'm like, that night I'm supposed to fly back to New York City to get back to this job. So I go to the airport. I'm still absolutely, totally in a bad, bad, bad shape. And of course, I'm delayed on the way out and end up missing the job. And as a freelancer, you don't really want to miss jobs. You don't want to be Wally Pep. So missed this job. Thankfully, I was able to find somebody to cover for me, which is not easy. Like, I mean, there are other photographers, but like it's not the easiest thing to do from Mongolia. And so, man, that was a trip. Ollie and I had since this is right before that was 2018, right before COVID. Ollie and I were supposed to go to Bolivia because he wanted to play what was one of the highest golf courses in the world in La Paz. We were going to go up to Bolivia, do this story there. A week before we're supposed to go, there's political unrest. The mayor is dragged through the streets, bloodied. And so Ali and I are like, yeah, we're not going to go to Bolivia. And then COVID hit. And then, yeah, it all sort of
I'm
went to
not
shit after that.
I'm not sure if I should never go on a golf trip with you or if it's Ollie, because it sounds like, yeah. And my only other thought is, and now we host a March Mongolian rally where we go play golf every
Yeah.
year and we try not to die from dysentery.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we do bring our own IVs with us now. Like
You always,
you
always
learn
travel with your
something
own
every
movies.
trip,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Who knew?
Oh man, who I did not know that's where that story was going to go. I was thinking like
I didn't
played
think, yeah.
incredible golf, and yeah, you
Hold
didn't
on.
know it was going there either.
Did he
No.
at least break 100 the next day?
So he broke 100. So he
Okay.
broke. So he went 106.94 to be at even 200. Then he shot at 100. So he's at 300. I got to be honest with you. I forget what the last round was, but I know that he was at 200. Then he was at 300. At that point, he had made peace with the whole thing. He was hitting like 6-iron off the tee, but he was still hitting it out of bounds because he just couldn't. He just had like the tee yips. He just could not. He could not get off the tee. But
Oh man.
That's
I
funny.
forget what the total score was at this point.
That's funny. All right, well,
Yeah.
tell us then about your one day or whatever your experience on the St. Andrews grounds crew.
I was not on the grounds crew. My brother is a professional golfer. He actually was one of the few people in the country besides Arnold Palmer's dad. At one point, he was the head professional and the head superintendent of a golf course. So he has both sides. Right now, he's just a head professional, and so he's pretty tapped in with a bunch of superintendents. And at one point, we went over. Actually, I think it was his first trip to St. Andrews, and he had reached out to the head super of the old course. So we got a tour of the old course in the morning, which was pretty awesome. We were just part of the setup crew. I was just there to be there for sunrise and photograph. But we met at like 4 in the morning with Gordon, and we were there for like the lineup where everyone's getting their assignments, and our assignment ended up just be setting up tees and cleaning up the tee boxes and setting up tees. So we were just out there ahead of the greens crew, and it's pretty cool. Have you guys been out there yet?
We have.
We
You've
have.
been out there, yeah. So you kind of know that the tees and the greens are really close to each other, and then the greens, obviously, the greens are enormous and massive. So watching those guys cut greens is just cool because like some of them take 40 minutes or more. I'm not even
Yeah.
sure how long some of them take. I mean, yeah, it just take forever. But that is a very special place, I think, in the world. I think just I could do laps around that place forever, and would like to continue to do that every chance I get. I go east instead of west. I've never been to Bandon. I don't know that I'll ever go to Bandon because it's so easy to get on a plane
Right.
Thursday night red eye, and you're literally playing golf on the Jubilee or any of these courses in the afternoon the next day. Whereas Bandon it looks awesome by all accounts. It's a great trip. By all accounts, it's just dialed in for like a buddy's trip. But just something about taking a red eye to Scotland is so amazing to me. And there's just any number of weird, quirky golf courses that you can find yourself on and be like, this is unreal. I can't believe this exists. This 9-hole thing on the edge of the universe. Like, what is this thing?
Yeah,
So yeah, I keep going east.
Well, and
that's
flying out
awesome.
of New York, couple $100
Yeah.
sometimes. Like you can pick a flight that's not full and they've got a last minute deal. And like you said, it's the same 4 hour flight. It just depends on what kind of golf you want to play.
Yeah, well, I think it's less than. I mean, I don't know what I don't know how to get to Bandon. It just sounds like there's a lot of driving involved
Yeah.
afterwards.
They don't
Yeah.
have honor boxes. How about that?
Well, that's fair. Yeah. Uh,
Jonathan had some encounters with the grounds crew there at St. Andrews as well. Remember that,
oh,
Jonathan?
cool.
Whenever I was trying to bribe them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got picked for the old course reverse lottery.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And so that was our first time playing international golf. I broke 90 for the first time on the old course in my life.
Dude, this is
And,
incredible.
but there were the memorabilia, like they gave us, I think we
A
got
head cover.
we
It's
got
right
a head
behind you, yeah.
cover, but I was like, where's the flag? Where's the special shop just for the old course reverse? And I'm not a thief, and I've never really stolen anything in my life, but after I realized I couldn't bribe anybody, because I asked the guy, I'm like, what are you going to do with these flags? And they're like, we're going to pull them back in. I'm like, I've got cash on me. How much? Just tell me. I'll give you whatever the cash is. I'll give you all the cash I have in my pocket to take that home with me. And they're like, we can't do it. And we walk past 17, heading to the Jigger Inn. And I'm looking at this, you've been there. So, you're like 3 feet away and a rock wall. It's not like
Yeah.
there's a gate or a fence,
No.
and I'm like, it crossed my mind. I had to tell myself, don't do it. Because I was like, I don't even care if I get kicked off. Like, as long as they don't find
Yeah.
out yeah. I do not have a flag of the old course reverse.
Ballister would kill me if I didn't follow your comment up with what I'm about to tell you, which I've really never told anyone, and I can't even really tell the whole thing. But I have some Walker Cup memorabilia from multiple venues that you cannot buy
Oh.
at all. And
That's great.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. And I'm
That's
also not a thief, but maybe I am. I don't know.
Oh man,
It was
yeah, no,
close. It was, I mean, there was
no,
like
you
the
were that
angel.
close.
Robbie, I was pretty close. Like,
I might have been the angel for you then for
you
that
would
one.
not. Yeah, you'd have been so embarrassed. You'd have disowned me, but
We
I was
we
pretty
did though. We
close.
did walk by the maintenance shed, and they were there. And Jonathan, like, that was a great conversation. And they were like,
That's
we
awesome.
just can't
They're
do
like,
it. We were
sorry, we
hoping we'd
can't.
find one person that would be like, yeah, I got you. Hold on.
I thought about
But,
hanging out until like the 16-year-old kid showed up to pull the flag and be like, listen, I got like $500-600 in my pocket right now. I will absolutely give this to you if you just lose this flag.
Just lose one.
Just
Yeah,
lose
just
it,
lose
man.
one.
Just lose it.
I assume you've since played it forward.
Yeah, so we played the routing was we played the castle course, then we played it reverse, and then we played it forward the next day. So
Yeah,
3 good days in
cool.
a row. Yeah,
That's great.
it was fun.
and we keep talking to different people and just about so many other things. And through what we do with BestBall, we've met some incredible people. And yeah, we're dying to
I'm
go
sure.
back east, like you said,
Yeah.
and go play it again. So how often are you getting to play some golf now?
I'm a weekend warrior now, but I'm playing definitely every weekend if I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple times a weekend. I'll play
Are
play
you in New
27
York?
hole.
Is that where home is? Like,
Home is in Yeah, I've got a couple of homes, but home is in New York, generally speaking. But I spend some time up in the Hudson Valley, which is north of New York City. And the golf course that I play, most of the golf I play is actually in just over the border from my house in Massachusetts in the Berkshires. It's
okay.
just like this kind of part of Western Mass, this little mountainous part of Western Mass. So there's a couple of clubs that play out there. I'm playing at Saturday, I'm playing at a place called Taconic Golf Club, which is usually ranked one of the top collegiate courses in the country every year. So it'll be a pretty nice. I get there maybe once a year, so it'll be a nice walk around that place. That was one of Gil Hanse's early sort of redesigns, kind of before taking all the trees out was in vogue. He took a ton of trees out there, and it turned a bunch of heads in that neck of the woods. And he's still taking trees out there. He could still take more out, but it'll be a pretty fun walk on Saturday. So most of my golf is played out in the Berkshires these days. I don't get out to Long Island much anymore. Haven't been to Bethpage in a couple of years. Didn't go to the Ryder Cup. So yeah, just it's just a lot easier to play a 3.5 hour round of golf than it is to be in New York City and play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really an all day affair, no matter where you play in New York City, whether it be one of the city courses or if you drive out to Bethpage or so.
Do you play with your brother much anymore?
Yeah, we'll get out once a month, or right now we're actually planning a trip to Scotland for November or December. Like we'll go in the winter too, because like you could get some bad weather for sure, but like you could pay $20 to play Carnoustie, and Like, who cares? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So, and
that's awesome.
Airbnbs are cheap and yes,
Are you
yeah. So
hitting off mats in November or no?
so yeah, November you'll start with depending on the club. November 1st this year is when the old course is going to use winter mats. I sent a text earlier today to one of my buddies, and I was like, I've played off winter mats before, and it's never the part of the trip that you remember. Like, it doesn't ruin the trip. It's just like, okay, so you got this mat, but who cares? You're still there. I mean, a
Right.
lot of people, I think of Scotland and St. Andrews and all of these places as like a once in a lifetime experience. Um, I like to do it on a different budget and make it a multiple lifetime experience and not hit all of the 400-pound golf courses that you can in a row and I mean, we're staying in cheap places and like not trying to spend a bunch of money. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to go multiple times, but like it doesn't have to be once in a lifetime. So to play off of mats, who cares? I mean, I don't at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, let me ask you this as we start to move towards the end. We ask all our guests. We want to know the story of your most memorable golf shot.
Oh God.
It's always harder for the better golfers. I've had two.
It doesn't have to be a good
Jesus.
shot. It's just most memorable. Mine is when we stepped
I
foot
got one.
on the old course, and it was the first tee shot at the old course. But go ahead.
I got one. This is when you said it didn't have to be a good one. I'm gonna give you this one, and my mom's gonna love that I gave it to you. This is at Bethpage. My aunt and my mom were playing with my brother and I on the black course, and it's a really hard golf course. My aunt was a stick and probably still is a stick, but she's 80 now. But she held course records throughout Connecticut growing up, and she was kind of potentially going to be a professional golfer, but there was no professional golfer, really very little for women back then. Anyway, so we took her out. This is probably 20 years ago now. We took her out to Bethpage, and they could both still play. And there's not like front tees, but there's a couple of tees that are really spaced out far apart, and 13 is one of them, where my brother and I were on the back tee and they were on the front tee, and I hit this wicked, wicked, wicked duck hook, and swear to God, I must have come feet away from taking either my mom or my aunt or their caddy out. That's a memorable bad shot. I don't know why that shot just came to mind, but when you said it didn't have to be a good one, that seems like a appropriate one to talk about.
Yeah.
Might be the one they remember too.
Yeah, my mom likes to bring that one up all the time.
That's fantastic. All right. Another thing we like to do as we wrap up is a thing we call the quick nine, just a little back and forth, and some quick answers here. First
Let's
one
go.
is, what is your favorite course that you've ever played?
Shinnecock.
A good
Nice.
choice.
All right. What course is at the top of the bucket list?
Oh man, honestly, Oakmont.
All right.
Another easy course I hear.
Right. What's your favorite course that no one knows about?
Oh God, what is my favorite course that no one knows about? I don't know. Can we come back to that? Let's just pause and we'll come back to that.
Absolutely. All right. Dream foursome.
Oh, my brother, my dad just died. I actually got to play the last round with dad a couple years ago, which was awesome. And my grandfather, who's also passed. My mom's going to kill me if she listens to this because she's out of that, but maybe she would understand. She's not dead yet, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's a dream, so let's go with
We'll make it a
go
fivesome.
two foursomes, and y'all can play as an eightsome. Your mom and your
Okay,
aunt can be in
great.
there for sure.
Oh, good. Love that.
You've played in a lot of interesting places that have good food. So, what has been your favorite snack at the turn?
Oh man. Um, Piping Rock, which is this place that I caddied at on Long Island, used to have this like cheesy sort of dish of cheese that you would dip sort of Ritz crackers in, and as a caddy, you would just crush like as many. Like once the members sort of slid out the door, you would just crush as much of this cheesy Ritzy thing as you could. That was a good
That sounds
moment.
great.
Nice. All right. Favorite golf course logo.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe Stanwich. Everyone loves Stanwich. I mean, it's close. I'm sitting pretty close to Stanwich right now, so that's why it comes to
Okay.
mind.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. What has been your favorite pro shop purchase?
My Wilson 8802 putter from the pro shop where I grew up. I played years of golf with that thing, and that's a little blade putter that Crenshaw used to win the. I mean, bunch of players. This tiny little blade, this famous blade, Crenshaw won Augusta with it. He used to putt with it all the time. I played so much golf with that thing. I loved it.
That's awesome.
It's now still in the bag.
Not still in the bag. It is occasionally in the bag. Like if we do go to Scotland in December, there's a good chance that we'll bring 10 clubs, persimmons, and blades, and it'll be in the bag then, because we won't bring like the moderns. We'll just bring a tiny little old thing.
I love it. All right. What is one thing golfers should do?
Walk.
Yep. Great answer.
All right, last question. Finish this sentence. The best part of golf is?
The people that we get to meet. Like I just got to meet you guys. Like how awesome is this? Like that's the best part of golf. There are other awesome parts, but it's really the people for me.
Yeah, we
It
agree.
really is. Yeah. Whether it's on a course and you get to hang out with somebody for 3 or 4 hours, hopefully not too much longer. If people are playing fast like it should be, or
Yeah.
stuff like this, right? Like introductions through people because of a common shared interest of golf. So, Mike, thank you for doing this. Thanks for taking the time to tell some fun stories, man. This has been great.
It was great to meet you guys. Thanks a bunch.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, for Mike and Jonathan, this is Robbie. It's been another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.